Hey guys, welcome to another segment of Word of the Day. So very glad that you could join us. My name is Caesar and this is Inspire a Movement. Happy New Year to everybody, to anybody watching this for the first time or our previous watchers. Wishing you nothing but the best in this coming year. I know that we just came from a very trying year, but I'm very optimistic about things to come, and I wish everybody the best. So our word of the day today is entitlement. So when we think of entitlement, or we look for the definition of entitlement, it is the belief that we are inherently deserving of a privilege or some sort of special treatment. It can also be the right to something in particular, like a contractual right, for example. So when we think of people that are in fact entitled, what are some of the things that we can think about that they display symptomatically? Well, they have like a very high sense of self-aggrandizement, for example, or they think of themselves too highly, right? Particularly in a group context, they're always the standouts or the ones that demand the most attention, and their word or their opinions are very, very heavy. They also typically have a very difficult time even understanding or accepting other people's needs and wants or desires because they're so self-absorbed. So that's another thing that these types of tendencies can display. Another thing to think about is self-pity. When things aren't going well, boy, they're going to exemplify a lot of self-pity, and they are very attention-seeking. So they exemplify a lot of attention-seeking type of behavior. They have a very difficult time also accepting others as equals, which makes sense because they're so self-absorbed. So that's another thing that they also display as a trait or a quality. And also when it comes to trying to achieve a common goal, particularly in a group setting, they have an inability to compromise as well. So if you are in fact experiencing entitlement tendencies, or you know someone that is, how can that person or ourselves begin to cope with this? So one of the things to focus on is something like practicing perspective taking. So like if somebody annoyed you, for example, in any given situation, rather than focus on your perspective and why you were annoyed, try to look at the other side of the coin and see what the other perspectives were. So that's a possible coping mechanism that you can consider. Another thing to consider also is something like cognitive restructuring, which sort of ties into that idea, which is looking at alternate evidence, for example, and again, going back into the idea that there are other perspectives out there other than your own that you can consider. Another thing also to be careful or mindful of is that you're not always going to be right. So there's something that's termed a moral licensing trap, which is when you start actually excusing your own behavior and sort of even in the knowledge that you're doing something wrong, you're sort of kind of going along with that. Another thing to be very mindful of is in terms of coping mechanisms is that when you do curtail those entitlement tendencies or put a stop to them a little bit, become analytical and try to figure out, are people being more supportive around me? Are they reacting differently when I react differently and I'm not displaying these types of tendencies? So that's also something that you can consider. And lastly, one thing that you can do is also begin to sensitize yourself towards how good it feels to give an accolade and to celebrate somebody else's successes. That's another coping mechanism, if you will. So in tying this whole idea about entitlement together, with entitlement, essentially, a perceived need that you have, you perceive it as a right. Right? So it's your right that you get this thing or this situation happens a certain way, versus ever being kind of the thought that even the things that you already have, forget about your needs and wants, but even the things that you already have, whether it be material belongings or your general appearance, your health, your life for that matter, you don't perceive them as gifts, such as a person like I would. You perceive them as a right. And therein lies the problem, right? We talked about in a previous segment something like gratitude and the importance thereof. Well, when you're feeling entitled and you feel like everything in your life is in fact your right, then it makes thankfulness and gratitude kind of very absent from your life. And being thankful to me is the perfect recipe for joy. So that's something to consider, that the world, the universe, God for that matter, if you're a believer, doesn't owe you anything. So I know that's kind of a hard pill to swallow when you're feeling entitled, but That's something to start sort of, putting in the back of the mind a little bit, or trying to process that, existence as we know it doesn't owe us anything. And we do need to be more grateful for the things that we actually have, because while we may be complaining about something that we're wanting that we're not being able to get in this very moment, there's an innumerable number of people that may have so much less than we have right now, and here we are being ungrateful or unthankful for the things that we currently have. So as I reflect on the word entitlement and how I've dealt with it in the past, I don't think this is a story that I've shared in the past, but I originally came from the state of New Jersey and then migrated here to Florida. I find myself in Orlando today. And the underlying reasons why that migration took place is because my family experienced tremendous economic turmoil, financial problems, if you will. And I went from a situation where I was very cushy, an only child, living in a big house, having nice things, basically very stable format, to leaving into what I thought was a vacation to Florida in a very nice vehicle, brand new, to basically, at least from a material perspective, losing it all. So as you can imagine, I probably came from a position of entitlement, of feeling like I had a right or deserved to have the things that I had. And in an instant, in a moment's notice, all those things went away. So in a way, that traumatic experience certainly was a life lesson for me to be more thankful and more grateful for absolutely everything that I have, starting with the very basics. And I think that was a major takeaway from that experience, as tough as it was to be more appreciative, to be more thankful, to be more grateful for all the things that I have. And I think as you put that in practice, you're somehow rewarded. You feel more abundance, you feel more abundant, and in turn you try to share on that abundance with other people around you. So I hope that you find some sort of a benefit to some of these reflections and the words that we're sharing with you every week. It's something that we definitely take a lot of joy and are very honored, really, to even have an opportunity to try to connect with you. Please reach out to us on our social media platforms, as I say, week after week. We're looking for ways to connect with you. And I believe you may have seen already some Instagram stories on which we're beginning to highlight our coming yoga retreat. We have that in store for you. We're going to put more and more information as the weeks and months get nearer to this event, but we're looking forward to getting your patronage and support on that as well. With that, I hope that you have a blessed week, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you so much.